Come on, everybody. Welcome back to the Review Realm. You are a believer if you are listening to this. John here. And as always, joining me for the Review Realm for yet another album review. This is an interesting one, but joining me, of course, is Sam, the SLB.
Yes, the better believers in fact, John.
The better believers. And just for a note, it's the SLB, not the SOB. It's just as I've had to make some corrections, so it's the SLB. Everybody.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. This one was shot in the dark, if you will.
Yes, yes. So we've never talked about this group before. This will be quite interesting. I was surprised by the album number for this band, and there's some interesting circumstances that have been around them for the last few years or so. But we are talking about the group Smash Mouth, and this is surprising to me, Sam. Their ninth album. We're going to be talking about Mercury Comet is the title.
Yep, Mercury Comet. Yeah, formed in '94, and they're only on number 9. So
Yeah, they've been around for a while, and I know, Sam, we were weird about this because I think we're trying to figure out something to review here, and I think we heard a few seconds of music from this album where we said we just started laughing, and we said, "Oh, but I don't know what we're gonna make of this." So, yeah, let's just general thoughts on the album, Sam, or Smash
so
Mouth as a whole.
all right. So I'm not gonna sit there and say I'm a diehard Smash Mouth fan. However, being a little kid at that time, I remember I know they were like a pop rock band, but All Star was like a if you were a little kid at that time, that was a just a banger. When you're like 7, 8 years old for some reason, loved that song when I was little. Um, Never disliked them. I'm again probably about I have my Chili Peppers meter where I'm like they're not a band I'm like actively looking for, but they're not a band I would turn off. So that's where I went with Smash Mouth. As for this album, um, we had some concerns. I actually didn't dislike it, but there are definitely things I wanted to address listening to it.
Yeah, this pleasantly surprised me, honestly. And for me, with the history with Smash Mouth is, I know they get the notion of, oh, they're the Shrek band, but and I've never felt that way with them. I actually really like Smash Mouth, and I like diving deeper into their catalog, especially Astro Lounge is actually a pretty good album. I will say. So I'm kind of a fan, probably more than the average Joe. And what was interesting about this album is this is the first album I think since 2012's Magic, I believe,
Mhm.
and this is also their old vocalist, Steve Harwell, who was the notable guy. He passed away a number of years ago. I think he left the group because he had some health problems, and then he passed away not long after that. So on vocals for Mercury Comet, this time is Zach Good is his name. And before we start diving into songs, Sam, I will say that Zach did a great job on this. He sounds exactly like Steve.
There were certain times he's very close. There were a couple of songs where I felt like he didn't, but he definitely his voice definitely filled the void that was there.
It really surprised me at how close he was. Even if it wasn't perfect, he was pretty darn close. It was almost like a Lane Staley, William Duvall, Bon Scott, Brian Johnson thing, where they take on this mantle and they sound exactly like their predecessor, essentially.
Yeah. No, there was he sounded pretty good. And you know what? There was a lot of this album where I know you and I would talk about nostalgia and how, sometimes, some people are so stuck in it and it's like, all right, we need to move forward. Well, this one was like a pleasant, like nostalgia. Like, hey, man, this is something I would have definitely heard 2000, 2001 from them. I felt like there was some good tracks to take away from this.
Yeah, so let's start going by the track. So this was 12 songs, 35 minutes, so not super long. Each song ran about 3 minutes around there on average at most. Better Believer, I thought, all right, at least this guy sounds similar. This isn't I'm a Believer. It's not on par with that, but I thought that was pretty good.
It definitely had that early 2000s pop rock sound. So I'm like, all right, this is thinking Smash Mouth. I'm like, this is gonna sound what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting them to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah, so it really feels like that throughout the rest of the album. Whiskey, gin, and wine. I literally wrote this down, Sam. I said, "Aren't you not supposed to mix your alcohols?" And they're drinking whiskey, gin, and wine. Says, "Jizz."
Yeah, what's interesting about this track, I don't know what it is. I think there's a guitar harmony in there that almost makes it sound like Christmas bells, and I just thought of it as a Christmas song. It's the weirdest thing, you know.
A plug for just a second. Smash Mouth has an amazing Christmas album. Go check out The Gift of Rock if you haven't heard that yet. I love that. I put it on every Christmas now. Um, back into the album here. Had Enough was one of the weaker points I saw of the album. I said not really single worthy. Um, Kind of a forgettable track on this, but I thought I liked the ska feeling on some of the songs on here, like Big Sur Sky was one. I'm a sucker for ska. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's funny. I had enough sound something that would have been released during their height of their popularity. It really sounded like, and I said this earlier, where they're not reinventing the wheel, but there's certain songs on here that wow, this could have come off of the Astro Lounge, and I think this was one of them. It just had
Mm,
that. It was like a time capsule. Big Sur Sky, I just kind of, it was just a standard ska punk track sound. That's what I heard out of it.
yeah. House of the Setting Sun, I thought it was pretty easy going, but not too bad. And then with Monsters on My Block, block or whatever they said, the themes are kind of all over the place on this album. But I don't hate it.
No, it's funny. I really like, so House of the Setting Sun is probably one of the better one of my personal favorites on here. This is the one where I felt like his vocals kind of sounded off, and if Steve was here, I'm like, this would have been a banger back in 2000.
It's I don't know if they should have timed this differently because like new wave rodeo, I thought they actually still maintain classic Smash Mouth throughout this, like you were just mentioning before. Unfortunately, there is not a new Shrek movie out yet. That comes out next year. So I was like, I was thinking, I wonder if they should have waited a year to put this album just to have it timed out, right?
Give it some time to get some love out there, and guess what? Next year you'll be on. It could be on the soundtrack. Something from this.
Right.
New Wave Radio. This is what I
Oh, rodeo.
heard.
Yep.
New Wave Rodeo.
Yep.
The song reminded me of times like these at the intro and the chorus,
Mm.
and then it goes into these ska verses, and I'm like, this was a little different. I'm like, all right, but I'm enjoying this. I like this.
Yeah, the flow of the album is not too bad. This Gimme Gimme was one where I was thinking it was starting to lose me a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. But I don't know why I just started laughing with the next track. Maybe because it was such a weird name, but Jackie O, I thought was
Mm-hmm.
pretty silly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very ska based song, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, half the ska music out there is just outrageous, like Aquabats.
Yeah. The last few songs of the album, soaking up the sun, I said at least it feels like there's effort being put into this, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
not, even if this album is not something that's going to break the 100 billboards or whatever. It's not going to make the huge leap in the charts here, but at least this band sounds like they're trying. um I felt that way too with Facing the Crowd, and then I actually really liked how it ended with Midnight Doctor. um
Mm-hmm.
they actually made a decent album here, and I'm gonna tell you a hot take in a second, but Sam, I'll let you conclude with the rest of the album.
So it's funny. Pretty much my notes, gimme, gimme, I'm like standard 2000s pop punk rock track. Jackie O very ska like. Like we got this 2000s pop punk ska theme going on. Same thing. It just kind of fizzles out. It's not bad, It's just like, all right, kind of, we got something going on. Soaking up the sun. I have island sound. Like I imagine myself on like a Caribbean island with this playing with a mojito in my hand. Facing the Crowd thought was all right. And Midnight Doctor, literally put, definitely sounds more like a traditional Smash Mouth song. Like this sounds again like it should have been off of something from the early 2000s.
Yeah, it is. I was really surprised by it, and I was just like I mentioned, it sounded like they tried. And I'm gonna say my hot take here. If you've made it this far, thank you. But this is my hot take on this. Very different genres, I'll say, but Smash Mouth made and put more of an effort into this album than Five Finger Death Punch did on their album.
Woof. All right.
That album was garbage, and they didn't try at all. At least this album they tried. It's not, like I said, it's not the most groundbreaking thing. It's pretty straightforward with what you get, and even with the new vocalist and everything. But they tried, and I actually enjoyed it, unlike the other album.
Well, it's funny because I actually brought this up as a joke because I was just like, "Hey, you want to review the new Smash Mouth album?" Again, don't. It's just like it was there, and I'm like, let's see what they're doing 25 years after I'm a Believer came out, because I haven't listened to them in who knows how long.
Yeah.
And I think we heard a snippet of one track, and you and I were like, "Oh, this is gonna be a doozy." And honestly, I was just like, "All right, this was fine. I can do this."
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I said I wasn't bored with it. I know I wasn't like, adding songs to my playlist like throughout, but I said this was a listenable album, and and that was maybe the goal. I was happy with it, and kudos to them. Good job.
I guess we're gonna have to find more bands like this, John.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find more of the things that might pleasantly surprise us. I think that's all that we have on it. Pat on the back to them. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on this one. I'm curious to see what Smash Mouth fans think of this. Thanks for joining us as always, and do not forget to join the Bedlam.